My second book, The Origin of Names, Words and Everything in Between, Volume 2 is now available to purchase. Get your copy today by searching Word Origins Book on Amazon and clicking on the non-sponsored link, or by checking whatever books are available in your part of the world. It's around this time of year that the beloved television show Strictly Come Dancing is dominating the airways, though I believe in other parts of the world it's referred to as Dancing with the Stars, among other things. The Miz was on the US version this year, and as a lifelong wrestling fan, I think that's pretty neat. Let's get someone like Trent Seven or Pete Dunne on the UK version. That was a huge tangent. Why am I dating this video to a specific time of year anyway? Well, that's because by this time in the show's run, getting towards the finals I believe, the names of these dancers are being heard in living rooms across the world. All of a sudden, words like Rumba, FOXTROT and Cha-Cha-Cha are being used on a regular basis, and not a single soul is batting an eyelid about them. Well, guess what team? I am batting an eyelid today. The world of dance is full of incredibly fun but strange sounding names. A lot of them have a very onomatopoeic sound to them and include sounds you don't really hear anywhere else in language, though some are a tad more obvious in their names and won't be covered here today. I'm looking at you, Quick 7 Twist. For a while now, I've wondered to myself, where exactly did these names come from? And now it's time to let my curiosity get the better of me. So today I'm stepping onto the dance floor and explaining where these names came from. Not quite as exciting as actually dancing, I know, but hopefully I'll get a couple good marks out of it. It's also worth mentioning that I'm going to be focusing on the kind of dances that you see on shows like Strictly, your more ballroom type couple dances. Though if this video does well enough, maybe a follow up on other kinds of dances could be made. I've just found a Wikipedia page called Novelty and Fad Dances, which is just calling out to me. Like I said though, maybe another time. Let's start things off with the foxtrot, shall we? This dance has its roots in the USA during the early days of the 20th century. Is this dance named this because it has you trotting around like a fox hunting for prey? Well, not quite. A more suitable name for this dance would be Fox's Trot, as opposed to just Foxtrot. Yes, this is the trot belonging to one specific fox, that being one Harry Fox. Harry Fox, born Arthur Carringford, was a New York-based vaudeville actor. He danced for a living, and on one night in around 1914, Harry did a new kind of dance that revolved around him trotting across the stage. This dance was thoroughly enjoyed by the onlookers and was eventually dubbed the Foxtrot in his honour. Now, I'm sure that for many of you in the UK, when you hear the name tango, the fizzy drink of the same name comes to mind. However, to most, tango is first and foremost the name of a kind of dance. This simple word is actually of somewhat obscure origins, it seems. Most point to it, however, being a name of African origins, which arrived in South America and made its way across the world. One theory is that tango is a word for drum from Africa, while also meaning a gathering of blacks dancing to drum music. Another idea is that it means closed space, or more specifically, a closed space where people dance, which leads more into the intimate nature of this dance. It's the intimateness of this dance that led to the phrase "it takes two to tango" becoming popular, first recorded in the 1952 song of the same name. A place where the tango became very popular was in Argentina, so popular in fact that they got their own version, known as the Argentine tango. While South America seems to be a hotspot for ballroom dancing, as we shall see as this video progresses, other parts of the world have brought their own dances to the floor. One of the most popular dances is actually of Germanic origins, that being the waltz. It seems to specifically arrived in the 17th century in the suburbs of Vienna, the capital of Austria. Because of its origins and popularity in Vienna, there was a version of this dance called the Viennese waltz too. This, however, does not explain to us where the waltz part of this name came from. Well, as mentioned, it's of Germanic origins, and Austria is a German-speaking nation, though be it they have their own version of the language. Waltz seems to ultimately derive from the old Germanic word of WALZEN, which means things like to roll, to turn, or glide. All very fitting verbs to name this gliding dance after. Waltz has gone on to become a verb in its own right, meaning to move in a somewhat elegant, though perhaps over-elaborate, manner. As mentioned, Latin America has had a huge influence on dance, and that can even be seen on the island nation of Cuba, where the cha-cha-cha originated from in the 1950s. As mentioned, a lot of these names have a very onomatopoeic PX sound to them, and this is a prime example of that. The cha-cha-cha is meant to be danced to music of the same name, which ultimately derived from one Enrique Jolin, a Cuban composer. When people started to dance to his music, he noticed they didn't improvise the free step. This footwork produced something of a shuffling sound on the dance floor as it was performed, a cha-like sound. As it was a free step, 3 of these cha-like sounds were made every time the dance was performed, a cha-cha-cha type sound. It's from the sound this dance made as to where the name came from. As mentioned, very onomatopoeic. The jive is a type of dance of US origins, coming into popularity in the 30s and 40s, particularly in African American culture of the time. That name of jive is distinctly African American. Jive is a word of West African origins, coming from jev, meaning to speak disparagingly. Jive talking was more than just a Bee Gees song, however. Jive talk is a vernacular of African American slang used across the 30s and 40s. Some of it is still even used to this day in the wider world. Singer Cab Calloway really popularized it and even published a dictionary of slang from jive talk. Jive talks includes the likes of a hummer, meaning very good, and corny, which means old-fashioned. Corny, as mentioned, is still pretty popular today. It's from this era of African American culture in which the jive dance came from, as did its name. The Paso Doble is another Spanish dance, coming into creation in the 1780s, where it was thought to be inspired by the quick movements of matadors during a bullfight. However, some argue that the dance is of French origins as opposed to Spanish. I personally lean more towards it being a Spanish dance, simply because that name is Spanish. A big part of this dance is a double step move, so big in fact that it was named after this, as Paso Doble translates into meaning double step or two step in Spanish. The rumba is yet another Cuban dance. However, this seems to be a tad more than just a dance. Rumba seems to have been a Cuban name for a music style, and supposedly rumba could be used as just a word meaning party in general in parts of Cuba. We don't seem to be too sure as to what this name means, but one idea I found on Wikipedia has it coming from the word olombo, which means an uproar, which makes sense as dancing tends to be a very raucous affair. It seems as the rumba became more popular around the globe, instead of meaning party in general, it came to mean a specific kind of dance. To help differentiate between the Cuban kind of rumba and the dance kind, a new spelling was formed. Rumba, notice the H. This spelling is used more often when pointing specifically to the dance. And for those wondering, I really did try and figure out if the dance went on to name the little vacuum robot, but I really couldn't find any info on the matter. Let's be optimistic and say that the Rumba is in fact named after the Roomba, shall we? Quite like Rumba, Samba is too more than just a name for a type of dance. Samba is also the name of a music genre and culture, though instead of being of Cuban origins, Samba is distinctly Brazilian, one of Brazil's most well-known exports. Samba came into being in the early 20th century when Hispanic Brazilian culture mixed with African culture in cities like Rio de Janeiro. From all of this, a kind of ballroom dance emerged bearing that same name of samba. But where did the name samba ultimately come from? Well, samba does not seem to have the most grand of origins. It's thought that samba is a shortening and alteration of a name for an earlier type of dance found in South America called zambosia. This was seen as a pretty brash, dumb dance, and this name comes from words meaning things like stupid and to bump and crash. I suppose it's funny now, as someone doing a perfect samba dance looks anything but stupid today. The salsa is actually a relatively new kind of dance, coming into popularity in New York City in just the 1960s. It is seen as the accumulation of other Latin dances like the cha-cha-cha and rumba. That name is very interesting though, as salsa is also the name for a kind of spicy Mexican dipping sauce. The name of the sauce and the dance seem to be pretty interlinked, it would seem. On Wikipedia's page for the salsa, it says there is some debate around this dance's name and the accompanying musical genre. Supposedly musicians would shout the word salsa while people danced to help raise excitement, though one Johnny Pachillo, the head of Fania Records, claims to have brought the word into the world of dance and music. He supposedly used the word salsa for his music and dance, as salsa has hot and spicy connotations because of the sauce. He wanted the music his record label produced to have that same kind of hot and spicy vibe. This seems to have been a success, as we still use this sauce's name for dances to this day. As to where the word salsa came from initially, salsa? Well, it's literally just the Spanish word for sauce. So yeah, the salsa is quite literally a pretty saucy dance. Finally, we have the Charleston, a dance that became incredibly popular and somewhat symbolic of the Roaring Twenties as a whole. Like other dances covered today, this is one that originated from African American culture before it made its way across the states and globe, though where it really picked up popularity was in a city in South Carolina called Charleston, named after King Charles II. When this dance first started becoming popular, it was called the Charleston dance, before being shortened to just Charleston. As I stated near the top of this video, this is just a small selection of dances. There are many more dances that we humans enjoy taking part of on and off the ballroom. So let me know some of your favourite dances down below, and even let me know how they got their names if I missed them out. This really was just the tip of the dancing iceberg. Anyway, I'm sure by now the judges, aka you guys, have made your decisions. Please cast your thoughts on this video down below, and hopefully I may have scored a solid 7. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Thank you to all my patrons who support Name Explain on a monthly basis. Patreon is vital to Name Explain, and donating just $2 a month allows you to enjoy ad-free videos and bonus Patreon exclusive content. It also allows you to help choose what names get explained in upcoming videos, and gets your name here with all these awesome people. Thank you so much for all the support you guys give Name Explain. Thank you so much for reaching the end of the video. Check out another video and subscribe to stay in the loop on all things Name Explain. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram where I'm Name Explain YT, and also join the Facebook group Friends of Name Explain, both of which will be linked down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and once again, thank you all so much.